What is going on, you beautiful people? Welcome to another episode of Universe Reviews. I am Doug, and I've got something to get out of the way really quick. Something's going on with my camera. I don't understand what, but the pixelation rate, the restoration rate, doesn't matter. It seems to be going half this, so if I look a little choppy, I do apologize about that, but I've got a review to do, so let's get into this. Keep in mind, if you are new to this set of reviews I'm creating here, this is what I like to call universe reviews. Anything movies or TV shows come together and create, pretty much setting up a universe, is what I do here. I talk about it. Only I talk about it a little bit more extensively, and I kind of lead into the next installment. So I just pretty much recap the set of events. It is now the second episode in the franchise, and I gotta say, this is all rough patches before it starts getting good. But this installment, again, is directed by George Lucas, and it is 10 years after the events of Phantom Menace. With that, we have an older Anakin Skywalker, played by Hayden Christensen, Ewan McGregor, older and more weathered, and the conflict is definitely a lot more simpler. Senator Amidala, no longer queen, is under constant threat against separatists led by the mysterious Count Dooku. The galaxy is on the brink of civil war, and the Jedi are pretty much overwhelmed trying to keep the peace. But when an assassination attempt fails against Senator Amidala, when she arrives at Coruscant, Jedi Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan are assigned to protect her and draw out who's trying to kill her. So I'd like to say Anakin immediately comes off as a creeper towards Padme. Sure, he has not seen her for 10 years, and probably doesn't know how to talk to women. But oh my god, when he says shit like this.
Annie? My goodness, you've grown.
So have you. Grown more beautiful, I mean. Well, for a senator, I mean.
Well, she covered the cameras. I don't think she liked me watching her.
No, really? She probably knows you're breathing heavily at the camera. Anyway, Obi-Wan and Anakin, they're talking. And as they're talking, the assassin strikes again using poisonous centipedes. Which I actually kind of found cool. But the sneaky assassination attempt is thwarted, and Obi-Wan jumps out of a window, grabbing onto that droid, traveling all across the city. God, wouldn't that suck if Obi-Wan missed his mark? Must use the Force! Must use the Force! Remember your training, Anakin! That wouldn't be good. So, after an invigorating chase sequence throughout Coruscant, it leads them to a bar where Obi-Wan and Anakin seek out the assassin. And I really love that sequence, almost to a point where it feels like a different movie, until Obi-Wan, of course, whips out his lightsaber like a boss. So the assassin is killed by an unknown assailant, leaving a toxic dart behind. The Jedi Council assign Obi-Wan to track down this bounty hunter while Anakin escorts Padme back to Naboo for the means of safety and sanity. Anakin talks with the Chancellor to make sure Padme goes along with this plan, but it's in this conversation I found some subtle hints and music cues that I really liked that confirmed something for me when I first saw Star Wars. So, a little bit of back history for you. Growing up, I was never around massive fans. I was exposed to this franchise early on, but I never had anyone massively passionate about it, which led me to be a light fan for this franchise. I appreciate what it does and what it tries to do. With that said, I had a theory when I saw episode 1 where Lord Sidious was talking and where Senator Palpatine spoke. I started piecing 2 and 2 together. Is Senator Palpatine Lord Sidious? I remember asking about this to someone and they denied the fact, saying it could be played by the same actor, but not the same character together. So keep in mind, I didn't have diehard friends into this stuff, so I was kind of alone in believing what I needed to believe. So if you called it right away, so did I. I just didn't have anybody to help me confirm it. So all in all, when this scene happens, it merely confirmed my suspicions when this happens.
In time, you will learn to trust your feelings. Then you will be invincible.
The music cue, the subtle turn of the camera, and how it never cuts, making you see the backs of both characters. George's idea of subtlety really paid off here. But as things start transitioning on their way to where they need to go and where they need to be, can someone tell me what was on George's mind when he wrote this scene? It conveys where Anakin is at in mind and personality, and at first it impresses Padme.
Sometimes we must let go of our pride and do what is requested of us.
Anakin, you've grown up.
Then it takes a dip into how Anakin is treated.
He's overly critical. He never listens. He doesn't understand. It's not fair.
Well, so much for growing up. Okay, fine. I'll take that scene. Just don't look at Padmé in any way that makes you any more a creeper. She's fine with you being a semi-adult. Just don't...
Please don't look at me like that.
Why not?
You're screwing this up, buddy! It's going from hot to cold, and then downright Arctic. But Obi-Wan figures out where the dark came from which is from a planet called Kamino that breeds clones. When he goes in search for it, he doesn't exactly have the best time locating the planet. And of course, in this back and forth, we get onto the Anakin side and Obi-Wan side. But on Anakin's side, he just keeps advancing on Padmé rather awkwardly, laying it on thick that he loves her. It's frickin' awkward. Dude, these scenes between them always come down to love and the awkward advancements they convey to one another. Anakin and Padmé are, of course, on Naboo, or in transition to, and they're just settling in. So they're just getting to know each other, and they're dealing with the conflicts as they arise. Personally. So for all intents and purposes, and for right now, we're just gonna just omit Anakin's side. When anything substantial comes around, I'll convey it, but Obi-Wan's side is probably a lot more compelling here. So, Obi-Wan investigates where the planet could be with the help of Yoda, which is a pretty nice scene, but when Yoda says,
"Only a Jedi could have erased those files,"
I have to kind of stop and ask, do Jedi have access to the archive memories, or is this just an offhanded piece of knowledge needed to get things moving? So, Obi-Wan makes it to Kamino, which is the only rainy planet in the galaxy, apparently, and he arrives not only welcomed, but expected by Lama Su, the Prime Minister. Lama Su tells him of a shipment of clones are underway, with many more to follow, and it was ordered by a Jedi Master, Sidious, with the sole purpose of rising an army up for the Republic. So, Obi-Wan inspects the clones to find out that the host these clones are based off of resides there on that planet. He talks to him, and man, is it a heated conversation.
Really?
I was recruited by a man called Tyrannus on one of the moons of Bogdan.
Curious.
Man, the air is thick! Oh, but wait, things finally get moving when Anakin has a dream about his mother, so he decides to go and find her with Padmé's help. So, this is such an abrupt change that I don't even care that it's abrupt. It's just welcomed. Meanwhile, back on Kamino, Obi-Wan engages with Jango Fett. I can only imagine how difficult it was with all that rain. But Jango gets away, but not before Obi-Wan traces where they're going. So Anakin finds out that his mom was sold and married to, so he asks Watto to help find her. So the pursuit with Obi-Wan and Jango Fett, they're heading into an asteroid belt, and for all intents and purposes, I'm gonna call it and say this is probably one of the most entertaining sequences since the movie gave us the exhilarating chase scene through Coruscant, which was almost an hour ago. So, Anakin finds out that his mother was taken by Tusken Raiders, so he heads out to find them and rescue his mother, only to find out his mother was just minutes away from dying. And of course, Anakin loses his shit and kills all those Tusken Raiders. Pathway to the dark side, everyone. Obi-Wan arrives on Geonosis where Jango went to, only to find out the Trade Federation has allied themselves with Count Dooku, who is uprising a droid army I mentioned before in the beginning, in hopes to overwhelm the Jedi. Obi-Wan reaches out to tell the Jedi what he had found, but it's all too far out into the system, so he reaches out to Anakin on Naboo, but he isn't there, so he finds out that he's on Tatooine. He sends the message there, not before Anakin gives us a glimpse of what he's capable of. Just a little taste of his dark side.
They're like animals, and I slaughtered them like animals. I hate them!
So things start to gain some traction when Anakin finally gets over himself a little bit, grieves a little bit, finds out about the message, and the transmission is sent to the Jedi. Obi-Wan is taken, and Anakin and Padmé decide to go to Geonosis to rescue Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan is held in containment where Count Dooku, otherwise known as Lord Tyrannus, sounds like a T-Rex, tries to talk to Obi-Wan, enjoining him to destroy the Sith. But we all know he's one himself. Obi-Wan, of course, refuses. So everything's in play. The Chancellor is granted emergency powers based off of the information they all know to counter Count Dooku. Yoda goes to Kamino. Mace Windu heads to Geonosis. Anakin and Padme journey to rescue Obi-Wan, and for some reason R2-D2 and C-3PO join in this. And when I said everything is in play, I meant everyone is in play. So the action goes on for some time, and it's mostly just filler. R2 magically comes around and saves Padme from a lava death pit. C-3PO has a body crisis, and Anakin is swiping away with his lightsaber on a conveyor belt. Because fan service is why. Okay, maybe not fan service, but this is definitely a filler action scene. Because we nearly have just about 50 minutes left, and we don't want people going home saying this is a boring movie, now do we? So, Padme finally admits she loves Anakin. That's nice. Not necessarily out of nowhere, but good lord is it out of left field.
I love you!
I love you! Joni loves Chachi!
So here we are to the arena sequence, and everything from here until I say otherwise is my favorite part in this movie. The arena is actually fantastic. Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Padme all go up against individual creatures for their execution. As the creatures try to kill these three, they all take advantage somehow and make it through this execution. I remember actually being in the theater and everyone was responding to the badass actions that took place. Oh! Oh, snap! Of course, these three hold off just as soon as Mace Windu comes up and says,
"This party's over."
Like a badass mother.
I don't think so.
So a lot of Jedi show up and give us the fan service one can handle, filled with lightsaber battles, gunfire, and decapitation? Oh, damn. Jango dead. But throughout all my praise in this action sequence, it's charmingly cheesy. R2 rescues C-3PO, getting his head back on straight.
Is my head on straight?
And all in all, battles die down with the ultimatum of a withdraw or die. But that of course does not happen because the clones attack!
Look!
That is the only time I can justify what that title means. Yeah. That's the only time I've actually put that to good use. So, more battles arise, but it really comes down to Dooku trying to escape. There is a small hint of plans, and we see images of the Death Star. But that's okay, skip ahead to what we really want to see. Lightsaber battles! Obi-Wan and Anakin face off with Count Dooku! And let me tell you, my friends, this fight is awful!
No, Anakin, no! No!
Full. Okay, it's not awful yet. I'm just getting started. We have Obi-Wan, and we've seen his way of fighting before. So here we go!
Surely you can do better.
I've seen verbal fights last better than this, and no one spoke. I get it. Maybe Obi-Wan is a little older and not as flexible, but the fight scenes just look stiff. Oh, Anakin's coming in! Anakin! And he's got 2 lightsabers! Anakin, I hope you fight better than you love! It's okay. Green wasn't my favorite color anyway, though my favorite kind of lightsaber. Anakin, kick his... Oh! We get a light show! What in the hell are they doing? Well, at least it looked nice. Anakin is down too, one arm gone as well, and we really don't have much fighting to write home about. Until Yoda shows up. And call me a nerd for fan service and not a credible source for an objective opinion, but oh my god, when Yoda takes out his lightsaber, it was amazing! Amazing! It's a dance. Yoda is hopping around. I get it, but I can't help it. You don't get called a Jedi Master without some skills, and Yoda definitely showed them off in this episode. But ultimately, Dooku escapes. Yoda goes back to being an old man again. But things kind of come a little cliffhangery? I don't know how else to explain it. Obi-Wan and Mace, along with Yoda, all agree to keep a closer eye on the Senate after the uprising of the clones, now that the Chancellor has emergency powers over the entire Republic. The clones are deployed along with the Star Destroyers, which I appropriately named them when I didn't know what they were called, the Triangle Ships. Aren't I a frickin' moron? But anyway, this whole thing ends with a secret wedding, and we are left with the emptiness that could have been an epic Star Wars installment. Well, I mean, it is epic. It's just cheesy fun. And that's not what we were going for, especially since we're taking these movies so seriously. The characters are more solid than ever, but the dialogue is a lot more problematic. The designs of ships and the worlds are ingenious. The action is awesome and fun, but it's just so bogged down by the forced romance. And it is actually the less liked franchise for me. Bottom of the totem pole, to be honest. But despite all that, it was an easy watch, and it was nothing too cringeworthy. I could recommend it, and of course it's all canon. But this wraps up my review for Star Wars Attack of the Clones. I do hope you enjoyed. Next up is Revenge of the Sith. Though I never know what they were in revenge for. I guess they were in power. And now they want their power back. When technically they got their power back. They just want more. So they're greedy assholes. Thank you all so much for watching. I would love the Universe Reviews to be a part of your world. So if you can please hit that like button if you enjoyed this, subscribe to help the cause further, to continue doing more reviews and recaps like this. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, until next time.